They fired their most important employee, and the CFO never saw it coming. I was that employee, and I guess I never saw it coming either. I worked for this mid-sized company for almost 15 years. I started out when we were barely scraping by, when the office was just 6 people and we shared a printer that jammed every other day. I watched us grow from that to a company pulling in over $100 million a year. I was there through the rough times, when we couldn't make payroll and the founders mortgaged their houses just to keep us afloat. I worked weekends. I worked holidays, I worked late nights, and I did it because I believed in what we were building. It wasn't just a job to me. It felt like family. I wasn't the CFO officially. On paper, my title was Director of Finance and Operations. But anyone who worked there would tell you I was basically the CFO. I ran the books, handled compliance, managed audits, and was the one the banks called when something went wrong. If the CEO wanted to close a deal, he asked me to run the models. If HR wanted to change benefits, I was the one they called to make sure we could afford it. If payroll needed to get processed, I was there at midnight fixing errors. I wasn't flashy, I wasn't loud, but I knew that company better than anyone else. The new CFO, the one with the actual title, had come on about 2 years ago. Jared. He was polished. He had the kind of resume that looked good on paper, but also screamed job hopper. 5 jobs in 10 years. Always leaving after a couple of years, always managing to land somewhere bigger. I didn't hate him at first. I actually tried to help him. I walked him through our systems, explained our quirks, even covered for him when he forgot things. But pretty quickly I realized he didn't like me. He saw me as a threat. The thing about Jared is he cared more about how things looked than how they actually were. He liked to make big slideshows, talk about strategic pivots, and vision alignment. He was the type who would spend an hour debating what color to make a chart instead of digging into why our expenses were creeping up. Meanwhile, I was the one making sure we didn't get fined by the IRS. The CEO didn't see that though. The CEO was dazzled by Jared's confidence, his fancy phrases, and his endless stream of half-baked ideas. Then came the Friday morning that still plays in my head like a movie. We had an all-hands meeting scheduled. Nothing unusual, those happen once a month. I walked into the office, grabbed my coffee, and sat down near the back of the big open area where we held them. Jared was standing next to the CEO, red in the face, looking like he was about to give a State of the Union. The CEO started off with the usual stuff about growth, new clients, and upcoming projects. Then, without warning, he shifted. "We've decided to make some changes to strengthen our leadership team," he said. My stomach dropped. I don't know why, but I knew instantly that this was about me. He went on, "Effective today, we'll be parting ways with my name. We're grateful for all the years of service, but we're moving forward in a new direction." That was it. No thank you, no handshake, no warning. 14 years of work reduced to one cold sentence in front of 30 coworkers and the company espresso machine. I sat there frozen, my face burning. Everyone turned and looked at me, shocked. Some looked sad, some confused, some scared, because if it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone. I got up quietly, grabbed my stuff, and walked out while Jared stood there nodding like he had just saved the company from ruin. The next week was a blur. HR emailed me a separation agreement, full of legal jargon and a pitiful severance offer. It felt like they wanted me to just disappear. Friends from the office called me in tears. People told me Jared was strutting around like he had conquered Rome, acting like he had single-handedly built the company from the ground up. Meanwhile, little cracks started showing. Payroll was delayed. Vendors weren't getting paid on time. Someone told me Jared messed up a compliance filing that could cost the company fines. The irony was almost painful. I went from feeling devastated to feeling angry. Angry that I had given so much, that I had put this company ahead of my own life for years, only to be tossed aside without dignity. Angry that someone like Jared, who cared more about appearances than substance, got to stand there and act like he was the hero while I was treated like dead weight. Angry that the CEO, a man I thought respected me, couldn't even look me in the eye when he delivered the news. It's been months now. I've been rebuilding my life, slowly. At first, I didn't even know who I was without that job. My identity was tied up in being the one who kept everything running. When that was taken away, I felt like I didn't matter anymore. But I've started to realize I do matter. The work I did mattered. The sacrifices I made mattered. And just because they couldn't see it doesn't mean it wasn't real. I've also realized how toxic it was that I let myself give so much to a company that never really cared about me as a person. I missed birthdays, I missed vacations, I missed time with my family because I thought I was building something important. In reality, I was building something for people who would throw me away the second it was convenient. That's a hard pill to swallow, but it's also freeing in a way. The company, from what I hear, they're struggling. A couple of big clients pulled out, expenses are out of control, and morale is at an all-time low. I can't pretend I don't feel a little satisfaction hearing that. Maybe that makes me petty, but after what they did, I think I'm allowed to feel it. What hurts the most isn't losing the job. It's losing the sense of belonging I thought I had. I thought I was part of a team, part of a family. Turns out I was just an expendable cog. But I guess the silver lining is that I finally see it for what it was. Now I get to decide where I put my time and energy, and I promise myself I won't make the same mistake again.